Yo, guys, this is Crypto Crazy once again, coming to you live and trying to hit you with that fresh ICO evaluation. First and foremost, I just want to apologize that I haven't put anything out in the last couple of weeks. My bad. I've just been a bit busy. But yeah, on top of things, I'm just trying to get out a couple more ICO evaluations in the short term. And this time we've got an interesting project called Essentia. Now, just to go into what that is actually entailing, Essentia is essentially going to be a new decentralized data storage solution. And the way I look to tackle that is essentially to go through what the solution is itself, the benefits of the solution, and then to attempt to deal with bits from the roadmap and just some nice and interesting observations. Then to delve into a few expert opinions, to discuss a few risks, and then to conclude. So hopefully it's not going to be too long, even though there's quite a lot to talk about. But I'll try and make it concise and just pick out the key points for your information. So that said, the solution. Yeah, Essentia is essentially, like I said, it's a decentralized approach to data management. You've got all that physical information essentially stored in a decentralized system and making use of various different types of blockchain solutions that are currently out there, such as Ethereum and Bitcoin and whatnot already. The problem that they're essentially trying to address is that right now, data is all scattered around in various different platforms, and as we continue to move towards this idea of a new internet, there are going to be many building blocks that are going to be required to put things together, to look after things. Many different types of protocols required on all sorts. And essentially trying to fill in a particular gap with regards to like data storage, data management, privacy, control, and security, and dealing with the security issues that also attach themselves to data management as well. So yeah, they're trying to essentially deal with this whole paradigm shift that's currently occurring in terms of thinking, and just with regards to the age of digitization of data and all that kind of stuff. And in the process of replacing these kind of old ideas and these old platforms and these old kind of frameworks with this kind of new extensive kind of blockchain technology, decentralized kind of logic, Essentia is going to be quite an important one in dealing with those kind of issues of how do we manage data if everything's going to be so decentralized and whatnot. And so yeah, they've seek to put together a solution for that. They've sought to put together a solution for that. Essentially, they're going to make use of like a smart key of some sort only the main user has access to, who owns the information, and inside of that, all of their information will be stored in like an encrypted kind of block, by the sounds of it, something like that, that they'll be able to access. And obviously they'll also have complete control over what permission, like if you have information regarding, for example, like as you can see in the picture, like your mobile phone information, some of your bill information, your house information with regards to like your car insurance and all that kind of stuff. You can store it all in one place. Then you can choose who has permission to access it and all that kind of stuff. The issue is with a lot of the platforms out there at the moment, because they're centralized, you end up having people who actually have access to your information, who actually own or the centralized platform, whereas in a decentralized world you can actually move away from that and you can control exactly who you want to have information to every single bit of your data. So it's quite interesting in that sense, and even the developers can build on top of them, on top of these kind of like layers, and so it's also quite useful. It's crazy because I was thinking recently I was thinking a while ago, or somewhat recently, of a blockchain solution, but this idea of a DApp in particular, but this idea of how do we store data is actually a very big and prominent issue that developers face, as well as people who are just trying to secure all their information and keep it online. So yeah, this is definitely a very interesting one, and they've got a very interesting solution ahead of them.
Crypto crazy.
So moving on to some of the benefits of this solution, and we've touched on a few of these already. But one, yeah, it's a much needed solution for the wide adoption of crypto if we want to move towards this new world. If crypto is really going to have as large an impact as something like the internet, then they need to be able to handle these kind of things. How do we store data? And this is one of the key building blocks in particular with regards to this particular solution. And there's growing concerns in areas of things like with the general increase in trend in digitization of information, and that people are going to look for a decentralized data storage unit of some sort if blockchain is to be widely adopted. There's also things like regulatory requirements. So if we think of the GDPR regulations that have come into play, and about the whole of the privacy of data and who can view what and who should have access to what data, and holding the rights to holding data, this kind of helps to address a large number of those issues. And so this is actually quite a perfect time for Essentia to enter into the market and to make itself known. And even with regards to that as well, general concerns over data security issues, that's a big issue. There are a lot of hackers out there, and the more that digitization of data becomes the norm, the more that hackers will seek to try and abuse that. And so Essentia decentralizing these things and encrypting it makes it actually all the more harder for hackers to actually get their hands on large chunks of information. So yeah, this is definitely a wonderful platform in that regard. I do also believe this is the first fully decentralized storage solution. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's the first fully decentralized storage solution. Don't get me wrong, Essentia has got its fair share of competitors, Civic, The Key, Remy, Upport, but I don't think any of them are 100% decentralized as Essentia claims to be. So that is actually a big pro if that is the case. There's more control surrounding like privacy. So like I said previously, you can control who views and who doesn't, who is able to and who is not able to, who's allowed to view bits of information. So there's a lot more control in terms of permission. And yeah, it removes intermediary access from your data. So yeah, you have complete control over who can access what relating to your information. And finally, there's actually quite a lot of rewards apparently. There's some rewards. I said quite a lot, but really there's just rewards for sharing your data and participating in like the general framework as well, which is also quite a nice thing. So I believe that might be things like, for example, if there's surveys and if people want to have access to your information to find out certain things or to conduct certain kind of studies or whatever, sharing your information might actually result in you gaining some rewards, and I'm assuming the rewards are probably tokens. So that's another nice thing. It's another nice to have.
Crypto crazy.
So onto the roadmap. There's, I said just want to show you, a few quarters, 3 quarters. This is Q1 of 2018. This is Q2 2018. This is Q3 2018. Everything's split into software, hardware, and public. The main thing I want to put out here right now is that Essentia looks like they're trying to do a lot. There is a lot of detail. I think that's the first thing we have to mention and just congratulate them on. There's a lot of detail here. This roadmap is the most detail-heavy roadmap I've ever come across, I think. The most low-level detail / detail-heavy roadmap I've ever come across. I've not seen this much in any roadmap before, and I think this is quite beautiful. It kind of sets the standard quite high and kind of says, they really want to be transparent in terms of what they want to deliver and by when. So that's quite beautiful, and it also shows that they really thought through the solution and everything that's going to be involved, all the nuances. So that's another good thing. However, on the flip side, I guess it means that they try to do an awful lot, which I'll bring up at a later point. But yeah, I do love just how detailed their roadmap is. And yeah, in addition to that, they've also got a test app online for you to try, which is also wonderful because then it allows you to get a picture of what the Essentia platform will actually look like. And also, in addition to that, they've already integrated their technology with quite a few blockchain solutions. So they've already got that layer integrated with quite a few, such as Ethereum, Status, Bitcoin, Aragon, Kyber network, Gnosis, etc. So, and storage and whatnot. So this is a really nice to know that they've already integrated it with quite a few other existing solutions. So it can make use of the full benefits of those blockchain technology solutions as they evolve as well. So yeah, moving on.
Crypto crazy.
Expert opinions. Across the board, they seem to be quite good. I'll just put it out there now. Diddy actually says, Diddy Carter puts this as excellent. Shadow is at 89%, Sergio 80%, Liu 87%, Fox ICO is 80, ICO Marks 89, ICO Holder 68. A bit of a dip there, but Tracked ICO is 86. Generally, bar ICO Holder, everyone has ranked this above 8% and above. Looking at an average of about something like 84, 85. It's looking very good. Can't really fault that. I think, if you were to put Diddy Carter on the same kind of scale, it'll probably be about 90, 95. Yeah, that's a very good set of ratings. I'm not sure why ICO Holder rated them so low. Could have been due to a lack of understanding about the product. They possibly spotted something that I haven't, and that all the other experts haven't in terms of an issue. But all in all, I think it's wonderful product, and even 68%. I'd like that's low, but really 68% is still a fantastic rating overall. Almost an A. Right, so yeah, I think this is a good project and definitely one to watch out for. So if we go to the next section,
crypto crazy.
Some of the main risks. Sometimes it's a bit hard to think of risks and difficulties for some wonderful projects, but I thought of a few. I was able to put together a list of a few anyway. It's always nice to consider what are the biggest potential issues. One is that, like we said earlier, with the way the roadmap is so loaded, it creates the impression that they might be trying to do too much. It might actually just be that there's a lot for them to do, and the timeframes are a bit unrealistic, possibly. They've already delivered. However, that said, I must own up and I have to fess up. They've already delivered the online DApp, which possibly I think might have came a bit late, but I'm not sure. But they've got an online platform which is available for testing and trying out. So that's a big win, and I can't really fault them. Therefore, if they've already been able to do that, then maybe they are able to deliver, and they do have quite a big team by the looks of it. So I hear quite a lot of good and positive talks about the enthusiasm of the team as well, and so that should also hopefully result in good work and actually them hitting the targets that they've set out. Another thing is that the extra white paper is actually extremely technical. I personally come from a maths and statistics with some programming kind of like field, and I personally know what it's like to have a lot of technical jargon that you just naturally grow to understand and use without even thinking about it, and it just seemed like the white paper. But I also, as a consultant, I also know what it means to what's it called? As one who works in consultancy, I know what it's like to have to change your tone and the words that you use in the vocab and the way you articulate certain things in order to communicate that to the required audience. And depending on who they think the technical paper is for, the white paper is for, would affect how they write. And right now they're writing like they're only writing for those within their industry. But I think if they want to really impress upon people the need for the technology, the importance of it, and the usefulness of it, slightly more readable, slightly more easy to read, a white paper would help. That said, I'd rather trust people who I don't understand. I'd rather trust you and not understand you than understand you and not trust you. So that's it. It's a concern, and that it might reduce the obscurity of it. It might obscure everything a bit more, reduce the transparency of the project, but not necessarily It's not necessarily a terrible thing for them to be technical. It shows they actually understand the solution they're trying to deliver, and that they've really thought about all the nuances attached. So yeah, as we've said, it could impact the project's transparency, and yeah, So just to conclude, they are attempting to do an awful lot, and I think, you know, there's a large amount of openness surrounding, you know, the methodology, time frame, what they expect to deliver by when. This is how far we've currently got. This is what we've currently got working, etc., etc. I think it's quite good in that sense. You know, I think it really is dealing as a real solution to a real problem. And with an online app available and ready to use, you know, that's a really positive thing. And they seem like they have the capacity to deliver, generally speaking, and that's just driven by thoughts in terms of like I heard, they're notoriously enthusiastic about this project, and the team is growing. It seemed to be quite big, by the looks of it. I don't doubt that they'll do well in this regard. And finally, yeah, this isn't financial advice, but you know, I think this is genuinely a good project with some long-term prospects. That said, you know, if you really want to invest and if you really want to take it further, follow the project, you know, do your own research, make sure you read up that white paper, as technical as it is, you know, go on Google, understand the terms that they're using, you know, get advice from a financial advisor, those kind of things, and then make your mind up accordingly. But yeah, these are just my personal thoughts, and I do think it's a wonderful project personally, to follow in the long term. So yeah. So regarding what's next, I guess if you enjoy what you're hearing, like the video. If you like what you see, like the video. And if you want to see more, subscribe. You know, I love you guys. I'm glad for the support, and I constantly do this just so that you guys can benefit from it. So please do continue to like, continue to subscribe if you find this helpful. And yeah, we will hopefully see you soon on the next review or on the next other helpful video. All right then, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.